Here, we'll talk a little bit about a video Candace Owens has posted. How do you know if your kid is trans? Um, the easy answer to that is your child will end up telling you sooner than later if you're not a shitty person. Later, if you are a shitty parent, and though eventually one day you will find out. Uh, But let's listen to what Candace Owens has to say about this.
It's a big question. How do you know if your kid, your child is trans? Obviously, this is now a huge cultural debate. People that are sharing a lot of stories about the moment that they knew, the moment that they looked at their precious child and realized that, in fact, they were born in the wrong body and they were the opposite gender. And they realized they had to help them achieve becoming the opposite gender. And so I gathered some of these reasons because I do realize that there is a common denominator. And I'm hopeful that it can help you if you're watching the show and you have young children like I have. So, first and foremost, we have this woman. This woman was speaking out against a pediatric a bill, pardon, that would ban pediatric gender mutilation in Louisiana.
It's funny how right wingers claim that these bills is to prevent gender or genital mutilation when they have no issues with uh, boys being circumcised as newborns when that is also genital mutilation.
So she decided to testify in front of a Louisiana House of Representatives against that bill known as House Bill 463. And she just shared her personal story. She shares that she knew that her daughter was actually a son because of her food choices when she was a baby. Take a listen.
Had anxiety and would never sleep, and we couldn't figure out what the problem was. We took him to specialists and neurologists, and he had brain scans trying to figure out why he couldn't sleep. Then as he grew, he got to sleeping, but his food choices were odd. They were always like green vegetables, raw green vegetables, which, if you know kids, most kids don't like to eat those things. And then the precocious puberty. All of those things, once we figured out that he was transgender, when he came to us and told us that he was transgender, when we went back and realized that the pattern of everything that he had experienced as a child, including eating green vegetables because that boosts testosterone, were just methods of his body trying to become who he was meant to be. His brain does not match his physiology.
Okay, so what she was saying that after uh, her son came out as being trans, she looked back at trying to figure out various issues with him. You know, she had come to the assumption, uh, and you know, may be wrong. I mean, green leafy vegetables do have magnesium, which can help boost testosterone. It may be possible that he, growing up, the brain and body did seek out, you know, green leafy vegetables for that, or it was just because she was able to make the food taste good. Yeah, a lot of kids don't like uh, vegetables and stuff because uh, they're slightly more bitter tasting for kids. And, you know, as you grow older, your taste buds change. Um, but it's not like she's claiming that she knew he was trans as an infant or anything like that, which is what um, Candace Owens is going to claim.
So there you have it. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but I have questions. I mean, when my baby did not sleep, my son did not sleep, I never thought to pause myself and ask if whether or not as an infant he was experiencing anxiety because he was in the wrong body. And maybe
No, that is not what she said. She, when he was a baby, she took him to doctors and stuff to see why he wasn't sleeping, and said that he eventually, as he grew up, developed a better sleeping pattern. And then after going through precocious puberty, which means he's like, 11, 12, 13, that he's trans. So she was not thinking that her baby was trans.
maybe my son actually wanted to be a girl. I mean, every parent ever goes through a baby that won't sleep, a toddler that won't sleep. But this woman realized that it was a sign that actually her son might, in fact, be a daughter. But if that didn't sell you, let's not forget that something even more serious happened. Her daughter liked vegetables, which is extremely concerning to me because I too have a 10-month-old baby girl who loves vegetables. No matter what I put into her face, she just really genuinely loves food, but she especially does love vegetables. She eats them. My son never did, and she loves them. So maybe I'm just not paying enough attention as a parent to the fact that she may, in fact, be trying to signal to me that she's in the wrong body, because vegetables, as this woman shared, increase testosterone, and what she's dying for really is testosterone. So I am just so happy that this woman shared her testimony, really showed us how she knew it was that her daughter was actually a boy. Does this sound crazy to you?
Okay, how about you talk about other people's testimony? She's going to use this one story as like the breaking point as to why trans people aren't trans, and it's just going to be pretty stupid.
Sound crazy to you? Well, buckle in, because we're going to get to some more stories of people that recognize that their children were trans. This is another woman who decided to testify against HB 463. A reminder, if this would just ban pediatric gender mutilation, if you want to turn 18 and you want to take a bunch of pills, totally fine, be an adult. But these
Okay, but pills is not genital mutilation. What is she even talking about here? And why aren't you against circumcision of males? I know she's saying gender mutilation, and that makes no sense whatsoever because it's stupid. Um, People take hormone therapy all the time. There's people, and it's not mutilation of the gender to take hormone therapy.
these people are standing up and saying we cannot do this because children too need to have their puberty blocked. Well, this woman knew when her child was just 18 months old. She knew her daughter too was also a boy, and here is why. Take a listen.
Sorry, I was Christmas shopping for them. They were 18 months old, and I bought one of those toy tool benches, and I was making the joke that, well, when one of them comes to me and says they're a man when they're 18, I can't say I didn't see it coming, just because they kind of did draw to boy toys, and I was just making a joke. But I am so glad I said it out loud, because I have that in my mind now that at 18 months old, something somewhere was telling me what he knew all along. Sure, of course. Okay. But so when he could start talking, he articulated to me that he was a boy. Mommy, I'm a boy. Mommy, I'm a boy. And both of my kids did Mommy, I'm a puppy, all that. It was very different. And we drug our feet on it because, what? It's normal to not understand that, obviously. So we saw therapists and we saw doctors, and ultimately we came to know what he has known all along, which is that he really is a boy. He really is. And I will be starting gender affirming care for him. He's been seeing doctors for years, and it is a very long process. They are very thorough. So now that he is almost 11 and starting puberty, we are discussing puberty blockers. And what that would do, it would prevent him from growing the body of a woman, because I promise you, he's not a woman. He shouldn't be in a woman's body. And honestly, I don't think he could survive if we forced him into it. I really don't. So we will find that care for him. I will go to the ends of the earth if I had to for either of these children, and we'll probably just go to New York. York, not the ends of the earth, but if this bill passes. So please don't make us travel for doctor's appointments.
Did you hear that, guys? Don't pay attention to the fact that she sounds completely unhinged and she's talking very quickly and in a very concerning manner, which makes me
And she doesn't sound unhinged whatsoever. All she did was say that 18, she said that if her kids came out as trans, she would accept it. When the kids were 18, well, when one of the babies were 18 months, and then once the child was able to speak, um, they articulated how they felt. Um, the parents questioned it, took the kid into therapy because they did not believe what they said, and after some time, came to realize, yes, he is trans, and they want to help them transition. And now that they've reached the age where they can go through puberty, they want to block that so that the person can take uh, the right hormones to get the body that they want. Again, she said that they went through a long process of determining if the child is actually trans, and this is what a lot of parents are go through and do, sometimes required, to make sure that the child um, accurately identifies as the person who they are, and even as an adult, uh, they people will be asked to dress in the body that they feel that they're in order to solidify to help solidify the identity that they feel that they're in. If they um, feel comfortable um, acting as a woman in society, then yeah, they will continue on. If they don't like it, they will, end up changing their minds. Uh, it's it's pretty simple if you actually understand and listen to her story. She's not acting like, oh, 18, I'm going to make my kid become trans. No, the kid realized they were in the wrong body as they grew up, and the parents took them through therapy and stuff to figure out if they were correct or not.
implicitly not trust her or believe that she's a stable individual. But you said some really important things here that I want to slow down. She knew that her daughter was in fact a son when she was 18 months old because she liked to play with boy toys. And now I am shooketh to my core.
No, she didn't know. She just had an idea. She said it in the back of my mind, I had some idea. But again, she also said that when their child said that they were a boy, she disbelieved them and then took them to therapy because she didn't believe it.
Because I have a 10-month-old daughter and she too plays with boy toys. When my son, who is 2 years old, has his toys around, she gravitates towards them. She tries to get on his bike. She plays with his tools. Clearly, this is a clear sign that she is trying to signal to me, first and foremost, she's eating the vegetables.
Candance Owens is obviously not listening to what these people are saying and going on to she's created a script over this, which is why she is acting the way she is, which is why she's not actually listening to what these people are saying. It's just to get an emotional response out of her audience.
She's eating the vegetable. My daughter eats the vegetables. She likes to play with her older brother's toys. The logical conclusion, completely logical conclusion, is that she therefore must be a boy. So this woman is
She ignores that these kids, when they're old enough to talk, that they articulate their feelings to their parents, and then their parents end up going through a process of trying to figure out if their kids are actually right about what they're saying. Um, yeah, the first person looked at the past and was like, maybe some of these situations fit as to what was going on with my child. And the second person was like, I had an inclination in the back of my mind about something, and then I said something about it because I'm accepting of trans people, and lo and behold, my child ends up turning out to be trans. Nothing wrong with that.
Deciding that she's going to start her now 11-year-old on puberty blockers, something that we do know deforms the body when they are sustained on the body for a long time on these puberty blockers.
Deforms the body? No, it doesn't. Puberty blockers does what the name says. It blocks puberty. All it does is extend when the person is in a has a prepubescent looking body. But once you introduce hormones into the body and stop the puberty blockers, the human body will change like normal.
Known as Lupron, which is also given to pedophiles to castrate them in prison, they will never be able to become sexually productive in their lives.
That is a lie right there. Um, no, if we give kids puberty blockers, it doesn't chemically castrate them. It just blocks them from going through puberty. Yeah, there are various hormones that are used to chemically castrate people, but hormone therapy is used for a lot of different things as well. It Right wingers love to focus on like one aspect of hormone therapy and use that as like thinking that that's all these hormones are used for, and it's because of their ignorance of science, and they're just stupid people.
But that's all fine with her because at some age, I'm assuming she was a toddler, her daughter looked up at her and said, "Mommy, I'm a boy." And that is all that it took for this mother to believe that in fact the child that she had, the once 18-month-old that played with boys' toys, must obviously be trying to scream to them that they are in fact a boy.
No, again, it's all a long process of talking to doctors, talking to therapists, and various other people about what's going on, and then eventually deciding that they want to help their child transition. It's just not. She is obviously lying here, and she just showing her just bigotry towards trans people. If this was back when gay people were looking to get married, she would be saying some other bullshit as well.
The other thing that she says is that her other children, when they were that age, when they became toddlers, said, "Mommy, I'm a puppy." And so I have questions. Is she also going to transition her remaining children, which are humans, into puppies? I hope that she's beginning that process.
Wow, see, that was so stupid right there. Yeah, she said she has questions. And then she took her child to therapy to see what was going on with her son and see what was going on. Yeah, kids say they're animals all the time, or they're robots, or they're whatever. But, when people are saying that they're trans, it's a totally different story. She Candace Owens is obviously feigning some stupidity right here, but that's also because her audience will believe this kind of stupidity.
Because clearly, if we should add credence to everything that toddlers say, if her other children tried to express the fact that they were puppies, it would follow that she should also travel across state lines or to the ends of the earth, as she put it, to help her other children transition into animals. Does that sound crazy to you?
No, but you're obviously crazy, Candace. The chick that denies racial discrimination, yet sued her university over racial discrimination and won. She's nothing but a grifter.
Because I'm recognizing this theme throughout these individuals that support these transitions. For example, some pop culture ones. Charlize Theron, I liked her very much in movies. She adopted a son, and his name is Jackson, a young black boy. And then we started realizing that Jackson was wearing dresses. And when she spoke out about this, she said that one day Jackson looked up at her when he was in the tub and said, "I am not a boy." I don't know, maybe he said he was a dolphin. He said he was a mermaid. I have babysat for little girls that say they are mermaids. And
No. According to the story you're saying, the child said that they are not a boy. Yeah, a lot of people, when they're young, have an idea that they're in the wrong body. It's just like how people, when they're young, have an idea that, they're straight and cis and they like girls, or they're straight and cis and they like boys. Nobody ever freaks out about, a 5-year-old boy kissing their 5-year-old neighbor girl. They're always saying, "Oh, you're gonna grow up to be a lady killer" or something like that. Nobody freaks out, but the right wingers want to freak out when it's trans people, just like when they wanted to freak out when it was gay people. 5-year-old boy kissing another 5-year-old boy. They would have freaked out. And if you want to go further back, they would have freaked out when it was a black boy kissing a white girl or a white girl kissing a black boy. That would have been considered um, evil. They would have been saying, oh, uh, black people are trying to infect white people with, black love and trying to create interracial babies to destroy Christianity and white America.
And yet, Charlize Theron knew in that moment that it therefore must be true. And she is now dressing up her young adopted black son, Jackson, in dresses. Now, personally, me, being a sane individual, would say that she should have the child removed from her care. Because people that abuse children take them out of foster care and take them out of adoptive care to abuse them, in my opinion, should be in prison.
Right. Accepting your child as who they are is child abuse. But hey, if you adopt a child and actually abuse them or, put them into a cult, that's totally a-okay. Telling children that, they're evil and they were born evil and they need to, ask for forgiveness, that's totally not abuse whatsoever.
But no, she's being applauded and she's being celebrated for listening to her very sensible 3-year-old. The same kinds of people that tell us that they're puppies and that they're Batman and that they're Superman and that they're fish should be listened to when they tell you that they are the opposite sex. And so she is.
Okay, again, should we listen to children when they say they, you know, should we listen to a boy if they say they like a girl? Should we be like, oh, you're only 3 or 5, you don't know what you want, you don't know who you like, you could like boys. But no, right wingers don't act that way. If a 5-year-old boy were to say, hey, I'm straight and I love girls. I want to kiss girls all the time. They would, applaud that.
Has begun that transition process for Jackson. So I've recognized that there is, in fact, a common denominator. If you are like me and you are at the edge of your seat wondering whether or not your 10-month-old, your 18-month-old, your 3-year-old, your 6-year-old, your 11-year-old, your any year old below the age of 18 may, in fact, be the opposite sex. If you're sitting here and you have that thought, is my child trans? Let me tell you what I know for a fact. No, but you are mentally unwell.
Wow, so she's gonna gaslight people here. If your child is old enough to articulate their feelings and they tell you that they're trans, and if you go through the process of trying to figure out if your child is trans, your child isn't trans. you're just mentally ill. And you know us on the right wing, we hate mentally ill people.
You are not a mentally sound individual. You are not somebody that should be in the care of children. And that is a way bigger mountain for you to scale.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how right wingers have now gone on their crusade against mentally ill people. They've been getting harder and harder about how mentally ill people shouldn't either have kids, be able to vote, or be a part of society whatsoever. And I think this is funny coming from religious nuts who believe in, a fictional divinity that, watches them throughout their entire lives, judges them, that demons exist, that talking donkeys exist, and that, the earth was created in 6 days. That is true insanity right there. And they act like they're somehow better than the people they consider to be mentally ill.
If you want to help your child, you should help yourself. I'm serious. Check into a clinic and examine why it is that you believe that any individual can transition their sex, transition their gender, or transition their species. You need help.
Nobody is transitioning their species. What are you talking about? You're so stupid, Candace Owens. It's freaking wild. And people, like, listen to her and be like, yeah, this chick knows what she's talking about. She's smart. She's intelligent. No, she's stupid. And the people that listen to her are stupid as well.
Not the children that are in your care. And that's all I'm going to say about that. There are a lot of things not to like